My name's Tony, and today I want to work on building a tandy leather kit for a Windsor belt bag, which can also be used as a Celtic sporran for you Scotsmen out there. So the contents of the kit includes everything you need, including the pattern and instructions. So the first thing it asks you to do is to do all of your dyeing and carving, and it even includes a pattern that I'll be using today. And the purpose of this video is really going to be to show you the general process. I'm not going to take the time on this one to explain each step in detail, but just to give an overview in the time-lapse video that will follow. Step one is to do your tooling and dyeing. So what I've done off camera was I took a few minutes to do a little bit of practice, and this is what I came up with the tools that I have. And so the first thing you want to do is wet the leather. The way that I'm going to trace the pattern on is with a paper towel that's wet, and then I'm going to use a ballpoint pen and go over the pattern into the wet leather. And what I'm going to show you real quick here is my workspace. I have a handy little iPhone holder because the video that I'm doing is going to be time-lapse on the new iPhone 6, and I just am going to show you my tools as well. So the pattern calls for an F941, H907, B203, and a B200. None of which I happen to have in my possession. From my last project, I did buy some tools, though, that are going to be pretty close. This one is the I've already forgotten the numbers, but it's a slightly smaller version of the F941. The H907 is a stop tool, and this is probably the closest thing I have to one of those stop tools. This one is a P870. Back to this one, it's a F976. The B203 and B200 bevelers are smooth-ended bevelers that I don't have either, but I do have this one, and this is a B200. No, sorry, B197. And I also have this smooth pear shape that I'll be using, and then I also have a couple of other bevelers and tools that I may pick up and try to make something out of. One more thing to interject here is that leatherworking is typically a long-term project, and as you can see, I have done some off-camera work, and I've made myself a little block out of 1.5 by 1.5 inch oak stock that will hold my tools. Pretty proud of that. It's really easy. The holes are set in at a 10-degree angle to give a little better access. Now that I've finished the carving, I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I will begin the portion of the project that I dye the leathers. So in this step, I use the EcoFlow leather dye for the back and the front, as well as the button and the two gossets. To do this, I like to use just some plain old kitchen sponges. They come out of the package slightly damp, which is what we want. You don't want a dry sponge because that will leave streaks. And I also cover my work area with paper towels, as well as wear disposable gloves to keep the dye off my fingers. The next step is a different color of stain, and for this one I'll be using the EcoFlow Gel Antique in a saddle tan. The purpose of using gel is so that it's much thicker and it will seep into the grooves and the leather work that I've already completed. So we'll be doing the flap, the belt loop, and the clasp. Now that I've completed my dyeing and my leather is still a bit damp, if you'll notice, I can look ahead. I can see that the flap is going to have a bit of a curve in it. So while the leather is still damp, I'm going to try to go ahead and put a little bit of that turn in there to accentuate the name, as well as make it a little easier to put it in there later and sew it up. Same thing with my belt loop. Well, actually you'll notice this one is not damp from carving, so it's not quite as simple. So these will basically later on, they'll go like this. After the dye is finished, I would like to put the final finish on. For that, I'm going to use the EcoFlow Super Sheen leather finish. This basically provides waterproofing and conditioning to the leather. And I wanted to do that before assembly so that it would get in between the stitching. After allowing the finish to dry overnight, we're now ready to start the assembly process.